Good morning, Unstoppable Writers. Deanne Welsh here. And today I'm going to talk about how one word can both focus and fuel your writing in 2020. So if you are here live, go ahead and type in here. If you are watching the replay, type replay. You know, I always love to see your smiling profile pictures, to check in with you, see how your writing and your projects are going. So make sure you either put here or replay if you are watching the replay. Now I'm going to share with you a strategy that I use and I have used. This will be the 4th year that I'm using this strategy to focus and fuel my writing, as well as all the other areas of my life. And the strategy is thinking of a single word to focus on for the new year. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what that has looked like in my life. 4 years ago, the word I picked was flourish. And when I first picked that word, when God put it on my heart, the first picture that came to mind was this amazing tree that was like lush and green with birds in it and nests and just this beautiful tree. So when I picked that word, I felt pretty good. I was excited. I thought, this is going to be such a fun year where I'm flourishing. And then a few months into it, I felt God kind of whisper to my soul, okay, now it's time for root work. And so that year really became a time of laying the foundation, doing some of the things, being in kind of a season that wasn't necessarily all green and lush and fun, but more about doing that hard work that sometimes felt kind of dark, dirty, messy. And yet the wonderful thing about that word is that it gave me this vision and the motivation to kind of do that hard work, because I knew that that was the root work that would make my writing and life flourish. And then the next year, the word that I had was abundance. And again, such a beautiful word that talks about what we have and what we've been given. And I actually started that year living in LA with my husband and 2-year-old son at the time, or 3-year-old son at the time. And we were in this small little studio apartment, and I was working from home, and it did not feel very abundant in that season. And so it almost felt ironic that I had picked that word, and yet when I have that word for throughout the year, it really becomes this conversation that I get to have with God and that I get to have about my writing. And so the amazing thing is in the midst of that season is that the lesson that God revealed to me is that even in seasons where things don't feel abundant, even in seasons where my writing may feel invisible or I'm wondering what the next step is, that God really is abundance and He's everywhere and available to us. And it's really about seeing that, with our spiritual eyes and believing it and continuing forward. So those are just 2 examples of words that I've picked. And there's 3 reasons why picking a word can really focus your writing journey and also fuel you forward. The first one is that when you pick a single word, it really captures the essence of where you want to go. And as writers, we love words. And when I the first time I picked a word for the year, I thought, I'm going to get bored of this word. Like, can there really be that much to learn about this word? It seems so small. And yet what I found is that throughout the year, because I'd captured this word of where I wanted to go, suddenly throughout the year, whenever I would see that word, it would cause me to kind of pause and think and learn. And so having that word really guided my journey. And it also gave me this visual of here's who I want to be, here's where I want to go. And it helped me make decisions along the way, because it was almost like this word that captured both where I want to be right now, but also what I want to grow into and become as a writer. And so that's the first benefit of picking a word for the year, is it captures where you want to go. And if you have it in front of you every day, you're not going to forget. So it will really propel you forward. The second reason that having a word can really fuel you forward is that constraints actually breed creativity. So often as creatives, we may think, oh, I just need wide open space. I just need to like quit my job and have all this time, and then the creativity will flourish. But the amazing thing is that creativity actually flourishes even more, even deeper when there are constraints. So whether the constraints are, okay, I'm gonna write 1 hour a day and then set my pen down, whether their constraints are, I have a full-time job, I need to, figure out some margins, some time to squeeze my writing in, whether the constraint is, I'm gonna pick one project and finish this one project before I'm allowed to pursue all these other, the shiny object syndrome. And the image that comes to mind when I think about how our creativity actually flourishes in constraint is if you think about a pavement and then it gets cracked and this little seed falls inside of it, and then that seed is so powerful, so strong, and I think of that seed as our creativity, that it actually will move the pavement and come up through the pavement. And to me, that's such a beautiful picture of how our creativity can flourish within constraints. And when you're walking along and you see a flower, pushing up from the pavement, it's even more beautiful than if you saw it, where it should be, like with a bunch of other flowers or in a garden, because there's such a contrast. And so I just want to encourage you, whatever season you're in, if you're in a difficult season, if you're in a season where you feel constrained as a creative, where perhaps you're working a full-time job or perhaps you have little kids, I just want to encourage you that picking a word and really using that throughout the year to fuel and focus your writing can be a way to embrace the constraints and actually see your creativity flourish despite them. The third way that picking a single word can help you grow your writing in 2020 is that it sparks conversations. And what I've found every year that I've had a word is that I start getting stories, pictures, lessons all around that word, and even making connections with other people. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have picked a word in the past, let me know in the comments. Say, yes, I've done that. If you had a word for 2019, type it in the comments. I'd love to see the word that you picked for this year. And then if you already have your word for 2020, let us know that too. Put 2020 in your word. I'm so excited to see what you choose, and it's a picture of your vision for the new year, of where you want to go, and a great way to really focus your writing and to really fuel you forward. Because when we have these words about who we are and who we want to become, it can really be a lens and a way to check in and make sure, this is the word I want to fulfill and grow into and embrace. So how am I doing that today with my writing? So I would love to hear from you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I did also want to welcome our newest members. We had 3 new members this week. So Barry, Catherine, and James, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Here in the Unstoppable Writers group, we are all about embracing who we are and that we have control over our writing destiny. And so we get to decide if we're unstoppable. Especially with the emergence of self-publishing, we really get to decide if we're going to continue or if we'll let criticism or discouragement stop us. So in this group, we're all about writing consistently. We're all about connecting through conversations with other writers, with other creatives. And then we're all about launching our books, launching our products with confidence. So if those sound like you're in the right place. I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Let me know what you're working on in the comments, and we'll talk soon.